Hello, Bible readers. It is Wednesday, June 2nd. We're reading from Ezekiel chapters 45 to 48 and 1 John 4 and 5. 1 John, I was going to read for you from a commentary on page 427. Here we go. In the elder's opinion, remember the elder is writing 1 John, captivating preaching and being spiritual are not necessarily good things, because false prophecy and spirits counter to Christ really exist. Furthermore, 1 John shows little patience and even less support for an understanding of the church as a club, a special interest group, a religious recreational facility. The elder's view of what should happen when the church gathers is very different. Test the spirits to see whether they come from God. This rallying cry is not aimed at dissidents who have seceded from the community, but at those with whom the elder is friendly. It's like preaching to the choir. In 1 John, the church is where one ought to find hard questioning and reasoned deliberation about crucial matters of Christian faith and practice. It's where we'd have the tough conversations. In this endeavor, no distinction is made or hinted at between the prerogatives of clergy and laity. So it's almost like the pastor shouldn't be the only one talking. As we sneak up on Synod Assembly here next week, this is making me feel better about how the ELCA is church. All within God's family are equal participants in an ongoing evaluative enterprise. No one occupying an official or demographic niche claims special purchase on theological insight. The church that takes its bearings from 1 John resembles a household with a flawed but venerable heritage, where the children of God are pondering what it means to be faithful to what we've heard, to what we have seen concerning the word of life. I like that a lot. 1 John is one of these things in Scripture, as we've studied it this past year, that I have really been moved by. I wasn't expecting to learn so much from it or to like it as much as I did. And then you get 1 John chapter 4, verses 13 to 21. This is 1 John's famous God is love section, a perfect example of media matching message. This is a beautiful message of grace written in a beautiful way. Like it has a rhythm to it. It is genius. Chapter 5, especially verses 18 to 21, are tough. We are apt to think of membership in a church or participation in a Christian practice, that would be kind of what it looks like to be Christian. 1 John is saying that God is not jockeying for a place in our everyday lives. God is reconfiguring life itself. That's the idea. Into a life that melts away the world's lies and builds us into something that is like indestructible in faith. So 1 John, Ezekiel. We finish Ezekiel today. I was kind of excited to see that, to be honest. In chapter 45, abruptly and without introduction, the text turns to the future reallocation of Israel's land. And when I read that, I'm like, oh boy, I remember how this went the first time. Remember what a detailed deal this was, with this tribe gets this land and this tribe, and here's why. And in chapter 47 to 48, after we read 45, we hear the same issue. Ezekiel comes back to the same stuff, only this time addressed in greater detail. So as I was reading about, like, why is this? One scholar thinks that because in chapter 44, verse 28, and then when you look at 44:28, and then you look at chapter 47's treatment of the inheritance of priests and how those conflict. One says priests get one thing, the other says another. One scholar thinks chapter 45 is trying to smooth that over. These are the kinds of things that pop up in Scripture that make scholars assert that a book like Ezekiel, for example, may have more than one author. Why address the same issue multiple times over the course of a few chapters and say it in a little different way? Why not just say it once in one way? Well, maybe there's more than one author who has more than one agenda for explaining things. And then we get regulations and sacrifices, and of course, how the temple website should be run. See if you listened to the end, you caught that. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.